Good evening, my name is Garrett, and welcome to The Last Call. Tonight's final drink is from Peerless. This is their rum barrel finished bourbon whiskey, coming in at a 54.55% ABV. So, I was really shocked. I did not expect to see this show up in my state here in Indiana. We don't get a lot of the unique Peerless bottles up here. But this is batch 2 of their rum barrel finished bourbon. So essentially they take their straight bourbon whiskey and they finish it in a rum barrel. We don't have a disclosed age statement on this, nor a disclosed finishing time on it. But the other night I popped this open with my wife and I wanted to review it with you here today because it was interesting. It was not what I was expecting coming from Peerless, because I really do enjoy what they release. I love their double oak bourbon and rye. I'm a huge fan of their absinthe barrel finish. I never got a bottle of it personally. I'm still on the hunt for one. But being that this is batch 2, you're going to start seeing this not only show up around Kentucky, but in some of their markets as well. And I did get it for a really decent price comparatively. So let's jump into the bottle itself and see how things go. Now, Peerless tends to keep everything barrel proof. They are doing the sweet mash style as well, which is kind of cool. But as always, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hang around for a bit, become a member if you'd like. If you're interested in some other reviews over Peerless that I've done, links will be up above and down below. So check those out. And I always love their bottle shapes. This is awesome. I just love it. Beautiful dark mahogany color on there. That is a pretty color on that. Alrighty, let's go for notes. And see, this is what I was interested in because it doesn't come across as a rum barrel finished bourbon. It's got a good solid nose, don't get me wrong, but there's not a lot of deep characteristics leading me to believe, if I was blindfolded or you just passed me this, that I'd go, oh yeah, that's rum barrel. Because you're getting a lot of deep, rich oakiness in here, a little bit of spicy qualities going on, and you are getting maybe just a touch of like a dark molasses, kind of a dark sugary note going on. But I'm not getting any of the kind of what I call the characteristics, like either some rum funk or tropical spices or tropical notes in general. But you're just getting a nice layer of baking spices in here, brown sugars, a little bit of warmth on the nose from the ABV side of things, but it's not offensive, nothing harsh, no offness on that side of things. Maybe a little bit of a dark fruit note, like almost like a plum or a raisin. And you are getting a little bit of almost like a milk chocolate or like a powdered chocolate note going on in here. You are getting a little bit of the barrel char and the vanilla caramel mix coming from the classic bourbon notes. But I'll tell you what, on the nose, it is very nice for a good solid bourbon, but a little lacking in quality from what I was expecting with a rum barrel finish on there. But I will say I do love that spiciness in there. You get almost kind of a little bit of a rice spicy note going on. And that's that good classic bourbon on the nose. Let's go for a taste. Now, I will say the taste comes across a little more rum-like. You are getting a bit more of the rum spices going on in here. A little bit of like a tropical note going on, but not necessarily like a fruity tropical. And it's got a beautiful bourbon undertone to it. You're getting that kind of classic brown sugars and a little bit of caramel drizzle, and the kind of cask got that chariness from the barrel itself. A little bit of vanilla, clings to the palate pretty well, but it's lacking in that rum barrel that I'm looking for. You're getting a little bit of that molasses in there and a little bit of spiciness, but boy, oh boy, it's a little disappointing on a rum barrel finish in my opinion. A little bit of leatheriness going on here, my second sip, but I love the kind of almost earthy, charry notes coming through. And as I do sip it, maybe a little bit of like, I don't even know if I could say it's got a fruitiness to it. It's got a sweeter undertone to things. And that's what's giving me the slight vibe of a rum barrel finish, but it just doesn't hold well in my opinion. But overall, I mean, again, I think that this is a good solid bourbon. There's not a lot to really talk about here, to be unfortunately. It's just very classic. You're getting a lot of that spiciness from the rye characteristic, the oaky char layers from the bourbon barrel itself, getting that little bit of a, I'm going to say it's like a fig or a plum note going on here, kind of a darker fruit note. And it's not bad at all. I think it's a really solid pour. And as you keep sipping on it, you're getting a little bit more of kind of dark molasses, little sweet characteristics going on in here. But overall, again, I think if you just slid this to me, I wouldn't be any wiser. I'd be like, oh yeah, it's a good solid bourbon. Now, Peerless itself tends to be lower barrel proof. They don't go up into the high 50s, 60s under most circumstances, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's just how Peerless does their work. And I think it's a really solid pour. But let's talk about a grade for this one. And this is where it's going to get a little bit of tough love. So typical pricing on this is like $150. And that's why I've always been scared when I was down in Kentucky to pick one up, because that's kind of costly. I'm not going to lie. At $150, I don't think it's worth picking up for that palate. I give it a C+, like even a C. Now, on the bourbon side of things, I think it's a phenomenal bourbon. And if I was judging this blind on a bourbon, I'd say, oh yeah, it's a good solid pour. Very classic Kentucky notes going on here. I'd probably end up with a B- to a C+ as well. Now, it doesn't necessarily paint outside of the lines, except for that bit of plum, dark fruit note, and that little bit extra spiciness they're able to bring across in here. But being that this is a rum barrel finished bourbon priced at $150, I only paid $120. It gets a C. Like, it's okay. Get a pour of this if you really want to. Don't overpay for a bottle of it. I just don't think that they hit the mark on this one personally. And looking at a few reviews, it looks like a lot of people kind of agree that it doesn't really come across as a rum barrel finished bourbon. And that kind of makes me sad a little bit. But maybe batch 3 will hopefully be a little bit better for us. So yeah, there you have it, folks. Peerless bourbon whiskey finished in a rum barrel. If you have any questions about the bottle itself, let me know down in the comment section below. I will do my best to answer it. And if you have any specific bottles I should go looking for, also let me know down below. Love doing these reviews and sharing with you the experience at home. And as always, may your last drink of the night.
You know, and I really like it might